Hey Browns fans, Nathan Zegura here with a very special edition of the 2-Minute Drill brought to you by University Hospitals. We're going to take a look at all the teams in the AFC North and what they did this offseason. We're going to kick this off taking a look at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals last year finished 2-14 under first-year head coach Zac Taylor. Now that earned them the first pick in the draft. When we talk about key additions this offseason, it all starts in the draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. The number 1 overall pick, quarterback Joe Burrow. They hope he becomes the franchise quarterback that they haven't had since the days of Carson Palmer. And Joe Burrow last year, all he did was lead LSU to a national championship while completing 76% of his passes, throwing for nearly 5,700 yards and 60 touchdowns in the SEC. He was the consensus number 1 overall pick. He will be the starter from day one. And now you look at this division and you say to yourself, you've got a Heisman winner in Joe Burrow, a Heisman winner in Baker Mayfield, and a Heisman winner in Lamar Jackson, all in this division at the quarterback position. 2 of them, number 1 overall picks, Baker and of course Burrow. Now they used their second pick in this draft, the first pick of the second round, on wide receiver T. Higgins, who left Clemson tied for the all-time school lead in touchdown receptions, tied with 2 guys who've been pretty good in the NFL, Sammy Watkins and DeAndre Hopkins. So those are 2 big additions on the offense for the Bengals, a team that really has a pretty good offense because they're also getting 2 pieces back. 2 guys who missed all of the 2019 season due to injury. One, of course, wide receiver A.J. Green, one of the best in the NFL. And last year's first-round pick, offensive tackle Jonah Williams, to help an offensive line that certainly has struggled. But you look at the pieces on offense now for the Bengals, and they look pretty good. In addition to Burrow at quarterback in the backfield, they've got Joe Mixon. He's rushed for over 1,100 yards back-to-back seasons, over 1,400 total yards back-to-back seasons. So he is one of the best dual-threat running backs in the NFL. Add to that Tyler Boyd at wide receiver, back-to-back seasons over 1,000 yards. Former first-round pick John Ross. Last year, he averaged 18.1 yards per catch for this team. A speedster. Guy who scored 10 touchdowns on 49 career receptions. Now, they still try to help this line out. Kind of an under-the-radar signing, Xavier Su'a-Filo, the guard, brought in there, but they still have work to do. But from a skill position standpoint now, with Burrow, with Green, with Boyd, with Mixon, with Ross, this is a darn good team. So who's on the way out offensively? Well, quarterback Andy Dalton, he's gone on to Dallas, where he will be the backup to Dak Prescott. And the other big loss, tight end Tyler Eifert. Eifert, great when healthy, but injuries have plagued in the last few years. So the only real question for the Bengals on offense is who will be that tight end. Now let's look at their key additions on the defensive side of the ball. A remade defense, one that struggled last year, and they remade it in the secondary. Bringing in 2 guys from the Minnesota Vikings, who our DB coach Jeff Howard knows very well, our head coach Kevin Stefanski knows very well. They were quarterbacks Mackenzie Alexander and Trey Waynes. They also brought in a new safety, Von Bell, the former Buckeye, joining the team from the New Orleans Saints. Up front, DJ Reader, the big defensive tackle from the Texans. They signed him, so they're trying to remake this defense. They've already got Carlos Dunlap, we know that. They've got Geno Atkins up front. They also really wanted to address the linebacker position. They did it in the draft, first pick of the 3rd round, with Logan Wilson, a very productive player in college at Wyoming, over 400 tackles in his career there. And then in the 4th round, they had another linebacker, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and in addition to that, added Josh Bynes in free agency, who's most recently with the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, some of the big departures on defense match up for the Bengals. Defensive tackle Andrew Billings, he comes to us with the Browns, and also 2 of their long-standing quarterbacks, Drake Kirkpatrick and Darqueze Dennard, both out of Cincinnati as they remake the back end of that defense. So that's a look at their offseason moves. Now, when it comes to the Browns 2 years ago, they swept the Bengals last year. They split with them, so 3-1 against the Bengals over the last 2 seasons. They will play them at home in week number 2 on Thursday Night Football, and on the road in week 7, looking to avenge last season's loss at Paul Brown Stadium to close out the year. The Bengals, they will not be picking first again this year. They will be an up-and-coming team, and you'll see this is a very talented AFC North. The Bengals, just like the Browns, had an excellent offseason. Thanks for being with us for this edition of the 2-Minute Drill, brought to you by University Hospitals. As always, for the latest on the Browns, keep it tuned to ClevelandBrowns.com and the Browns mobile app.